So today, guys, we are covering a story from Bradford about the ex-drug baron Naveed Butt, also known as NAV, and his accomplice Anthony Murgatroyd, who were jailed in 2002 for a 15-year jail sentence for a sickening attack on a dealer they employed. The attack took place in broad daylight in Bradford city centre. The pair beat, stabbed and kidnapped Jonathan Adamson. As a warning to other potential police informers, they tried to cut his tongue out. From the moment the word reached the streets, Jonathan Adamson knew his days in Bradford were numbered. According to the rumours, the small-time drug dealer had broken the most sacred of criminal codes. He had turned grass and passed information to the police. Knowing his underworld bosses would be out for blood, he swiftly hatched a plan to flee the country. Ruthless Nav and Murgatroyd had employed Adamson as a mobile dealer, ferrying bags of heroin and crack cocaine to addict punters across the city. As one of a team of couriers working to a shift rota, Adamson was supplied with a car, a mobile phone, and 40 20-pound wraps of drugs. Once these were sold, he would head back to the operations headquarters in Stedman Terrace for another shipment, before being sent back onto the streets. And during a typical shift, he would make this return journey many times. It would usually be 12 hours between the first addict ringing at 9 a.m. and Adamson finally quitting his shift. And while he would collect about £1,500 a day through his toils, Butt and Murgatroyd would pay him just 3 wraps of heroin to feed his own habit. The pair were careful to put on regular shows of strength to dispel any thoughts employees might have about ripping them off. In court, Adamson told how he would arrive at Stedman Terrace to find Nav lovingly cleaning and posing with a new handgun. And he knew Nav's family were not afraid to use them. Nav's brother Kawar was serving 12 years for shooting a couple outside Bradford's Planet Venus Club in November 2000. As soon as the rumour, which was in fact false, surfaced, Adamson knew Bradford was no longer a safe place. Only hours before his arranged flight left for Spain, Nav and Murgatroyd received a tip-off he was in the city centre. As Adamson spotted Nav's Vauxhall Vectra in Hallings, he made a frantic dash for refuge in the Hilton Hotel. But Murgatroyd, with a steak knife concealed under his sleeve, caught him by the front doors and in broad daylight. Within yards of horrified Christmas shoppers last December, he went about his sickening punishment. The knife was plunged repeatedly into Adamson's back and body, puncturing a lung and lacerating a kidney. Then, as a stark lesson about the fate of grasses, Murgatroyd thrust the blade into his mouth in an attempt to cut out his tongue. By this time, Nav had joined the fray and kicked his head like a football. Battered and bloody and on the brink of death, the pair bundled Adamson into the car and drove him to an associate's house, where he was dragged down into a sparsely furnished cellar. There, Nav shoved a cocked gun in Adamson's mouth and warned how he and his family would die if he ever spoke to the police. Realising that Adamson was close to death and confident he would not name them, the pair finally dumped him outside Bradford Royal Infirmary, where he crawled into the building. When armed officers arrested Nav, he was driving a £15,000 Mitsubishi Shogun and had £18,000 in cash stashed at his girlfriend's house. But while the rewards were high, Nav, Murgatroyd and Adamson were all playing a very perilous game. Navi was a close friend to Amriz Iqbal, also known as Major, who was killed in 2018 by Bradford kingpin Meghi Khan. Navi is now a luxurious watch dealer. Additionally, Navi's close friend was Amriz Iqbal, also known as Major, met a tragic end in 2018 at the hands of Bradford's notorious figure, Meghi Khan. Despite his dark past, Nav has undergone a transformation, now dealing in luxurious watches. However, the shadows of his criminal history linger, raising questions about loyalty and the consequences of betrayal. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more engaging stories.